Yeah, we can start. So today's topic is about ConfigMaps and secrets in Kubernetes. So we'll be discussing what are those and how why they'll be used and how to use obviously. So generally, as of now, we're deploying pods, correct? So without any, let's say we can pass environment variables in uh, manifest files, so that is possible where we can able to any variables, anything, you can able to pass. So there is no issues. So let's say I have some sensitive information which I want to pass to application because my application expects it. So let's say some DB password as an example. DB password is there. It's expecting it. And I can't pass the DB password as env, right? That is not a good approach. So I have to make it secure. And of course, I can't simply directly paste in the code because if you paste in the code, obviously your code will be somewhere in GitHub or in any version source code tool. Obviously, whoever have access, anyone can see the the DB password. I want to make it secure, and I don't want to keep in the code along with the source code. So what I have to do, I have to pass it separately to the application so that it can read. So how you pass as an env, you can pass. That's the one approach. You can pass as an env variable so that application can read it. General scenario. That is one. Or let's say we have some configuration. Example, let's say we are using Nginx, and just as an example, our application is running. There will be configuration file, right? Nginx.conf. So you usually we keep it along with the Docker file only, I mean within the Docker image only, and we build it, we deploy it. Now imagine a scenario. I don't want to keep these configurations along with my application, along with my container. I'll have them separately and I'll use them in my pod. You may ask why it is required. See, I have my application is there in Unix or whatever it is. Configuration also I kept inside the application only. What is the issue here? It's working fine, right? Why we need to make it separate? One thing is because the size of the image. Let's say your configuration is huge. The image size, Docker image size will be huge, obviously. So every time, even when you are building image, the configuration also will be applied and it will be deployed along with it. That is one thing. Another thing is, if you want to change the configuration, it means you have to rebuild your image completely. Let's say if the configuration is separate, you simply update the configuration and the change will be applied automatically to the image because the configuration is separate out of your application. You just made a change to configuration. It automatically applies the change. So when we have a scenario that let's say um, we have this any kind of configuration uh, which is which we want to maintain separately from our application. At the time, we'll be using these concepts called config maps and secrets. Both, both are, both are for same purpose. We make sure that the configuration, whatever required for application, we are keeping it separate and applying to our application wherever required. I mean, so why it is required? As I told you, right? It's easier to manage and secure, our deployment. So even though if a small configuration change, we can simply make to the configuration only. So not for what is that application. So config maps and secrets both used for the same purpose. So they make sure the configuration is separate from your application and the configuration should be accessible from the application, correct? That's what we want. That's what these two features provide for us. So what is the difference? The only difference, config maps, if you have a config maps, uh, you can see the data. So it's not be suitable for sensitive data. It means any passwords are there. So if you kept password in the config map, anyone can see it. But secrets can handle the sensitive data. If you kept a secret in, if you want to store a password, you'll be using, sensitive data. I'm sorry, you can use secrets. So it can encode the value and it can able to decode it. So we give an encoded value to that and it will decode it for us. So like that. So config maps cannot handle cannot handle the sensitive data because everyone can see it. But secrets can handle the sensitive data. That is the only difference. So let's say you have passwords or username or some keys, some API keys or something or SSH key, let's say, example, will store in secret. If a normal configuration, like let's say nginx.conf or apache.conf, because there is nothing inside it. Of course, there is content, but these are not sensitive. It's configuration at nginx level. So we will be storing in where in config maps. So that's what we do. So is it clear? Like what it is about. That's it. What these two things do. How that we'll see. So what config map and what is secret and when to use these things. So is it clear? Is it okay? You figured you got it. Anyone?
Yes.
All right. Now let's do create a config map and secret. How to create it? It's simple. Let's open YAML link. It's very simple. I will show you. Same thing. We'll be creating a manifest file with a kind config map. See, that's it. API kind is data. This is where we define our configuration. If you observe something they have mentioned, player, initialize, free something. This is example. So this is the data in the config map. So they are creating a config map and they are storing that configuration inside it. How to use this in the pod? We haven't seen that, but this is general configuration. You can use anything here. Any non-sensitive data. Is there any other example? This is how to use it. No, no. Yeah, let's say this one. Even more simple. Just using some username and just using access level something. Whatever the configuration is. So like this. So any configuration you can able to use. Let me show. Let me show you maybe Nginx conf because this we know Nginx conf, right? So I just want to show you. See, this is the config map, and if you observe data nginx.conf file, this is the file, right? Obviously, and if you see the symbol and this is the content inside the file. Talking about what is this content? But see, this is the deployment. Sorry, see this nginx.conf content on the file content, whatever the configuration we are creating as a config map, and you will be using it. So now what happens? Let's say this configuration is separate. Of course, we'll be using this in a Plora Nginx container. Sorry, pod, but we are maintaining it separately. So now maybe after 2 days, I want to change something, maybe to 10241 as an example. I'll change it, and what I do, I'll apply the change. Automatically, the change will be reflected in the pod. So it's easy, right? If I want to change the same thing inside a container, I can't do it because I have to change in the Docker file level, build the image, deploy the image again. So is that better or this is better? See, you don't need to build anything here because we are maintaining our configuration separately with something called ConfigMaps. So like that we can have to use it. So we can use the same example because we also have a Unix. Hmm. So don't worry about why this is too huge. I mean, this is not at all belongs to ConfigMap. This is a Nginx configuration. Until here only, until here only we are using. I know this. These are all Nginx cons which you can default find in nginx.com. That's okay. Don't worry. Let's start with very simple thing. Let's say nginx 111.com something, whatever, something. It does not really matter. Now what's inside it, we have to keep it. So simply what I do is I'll add something, test something, test one. Imagine this is the configuration. Got it? Imagine that is the configuration. It's not any. I know it's not correct, but where is it? Sorry. Just imagine that this is correct. Metadata, blah blah, and it's gone. Data. This is what we do. Let's copy it and let's create it. We are creating the file as a config map. And of course, you can create similar like this, the values also as this, as a config map. Anything is fine. Depends on your use case. Either you can create a config map for a file because it's a file, obviously correct. Or if you have simple values, direct values, you can use like this also. We'll use both, don't worry. Or let's say, let's create both. How to create both? As I told you. Sorry. Blah, blah, blah. Just simply like this. Test CM. Simply like this. Is it clear? That's it. I'm creating two config maps. I'm just dividing by hyphen. It will create. One is I'm creating with normal literal values. I mean, literal values means key and value directly we have here. Another thing is I'm creating config map from a file for a file nginx.conf file because my content there's my configuration. Now let's simply copy it. Go to cluster. Sorry, first let's check the nodes. Awesome, they are here. Let's create a file. CM means config maps. Paste it. Yes. Now apply it. Created. See, two config maps are created. How to see that? kubectl get CM. See, this is by default config map. 14 days. It's from the cluster. But see our thing. If you want to create same thing. If you want to create, the config map in a different namespace, what you do? Go to metadata, uh, under the name, add namespace, whatever the namespace you want. That's it. Now how to describe it? Describe ds sorry kubectl ds describe cm slash test cm. See, we can see our data, right? Is it correct? That's what we created. Let's same thing with nginx con. It's a file. See the data. You can see the data in the config map. As I told you, right? Config map will be useful only for non-sensitive data. If you have any non-sensitive data, what is non-sensitive data means, which are not, which are will be used, or which are okay to be seen by everyone. They're not, any kind of secrets or something. So if you describe, you can see it. Got it? How to create a config map? Is it clear? Anything so far? Any doubts? Next, what we do? Now, what is our case? Create a config map, and use it obviously. Now, how to use it? That we'll see. There are multiple ways to use this. So one way is, sorry, let me just type this. So one way is like as env, as environment variable, you can use it. Or no, this one now as this one, sorry, volumes, as volumes also you can use it, or you can pass to command also, command line also. You know how to use volumes obviously. So we can pass as a volume, or we can pass as a env. Now let's see here how to pass as a env. Of course, we have the values, right? Sorry, we have the values directly. We gave the value here, like this. Where is it? So these you can use as a env obviously because it's just a key and a value. So you'll be using key and of course you can see the value. We'll see that when we'll create a pod. We'll go inside. We'll check this and use as a volume is for the file. So you can't use file as a env. So this is a configuration file which Nginx expects. So you have to mount it to the path the wherever it's expecting. Of course, this is the wrong file. The sample file. But if it's the original file, we have to mount as a volume. That's what we use volume. We'll see both. Don't worry. And command line means if you are passing any command, to the container, and you want to use these config maps in that command, you can able to use it. So like that. So let's start from using as env. Got it? So first, open our uh, we open our configuration. Remove the affinities. For us, it's not required today for us. We can add anything. No need to remove affinities or anything. But the file will become huge. It will be difficult for us to troubleshoot or something. For now, at least. That's why I'm removing it. Now what we have to do? How to add env? Simply env. That's it. And name. What is the key name? Let's say test. Something. Value test 1 to 3. This is how generally you pass an env variable. Generally, this is how you pass it. Correct? Now, this is a direct approach. But now we are using config maps, right? Our configuration is in config maps. So we have to use that now. How to get the value from there? How to get the value from there is, let's remove this. Test. Test is the key, obviously. Test is equal to some value we are giving. The value is present in config map. How to get it? Value from. Earlier we just gave value because we're giving direct value. But now we are taking the value from somewhere else. Config map. So we have to give value from. Obviously. Enter. Now here we have to give config map key reference. Config map key ref. What this will do, what we are doing is we are trying to refer the key from a config map. So let me yeah here. So this is the config map. What is the name of config map? We have to use this test CM. This is the name of config map. What is the key? We have two things: username or access level. These are two are the keys, right? Values we don't use it directly. Values it will fetch it from the config map. So we have to use the keys in order to access the value. So let's say I want to use maybe username key. Now simply what I go here, config map key ref, okay. What is the name of the config map? Test CM, I believe. And what is the key? Key username, right? Username. Now, this is how we define. Now, what happens is we are setting a variable. The variable key is test, and the value we are fetching from config map. Value from we are fetching from config map. This is the config map name, and within the config map there is a key called username. Obviously, you can see here. So that's why we are referring it. Let's say access level, right? Yeah. Next is access level. Now simply what I do is copy paste it. I'll paste it. I'm trying to fetch another value. That's it. Access level. Name test one. That's it. Is it access underscore level? 1 minute. Yeah, correct. See, now you got it right. I have my values in config map, obviously, and I am defining a variable. I'm trying to use the config map as a variable, and I defined as a variable, correct? And I'm trying to get the key from config map. So this is the config map, obviously, and what is the key inside it? What are the keys? These are keys. Whatever you see left side, these are values. Of course, we don't define the values. I mean, you don't use the values. You'll be using the keys only. So now what happens is when you deploy the pod, so we told take value from config map, right? Take key, this key from config map. I mean, whatever the value to this key, it will be fetched from config map. So this pod will take care of that. Now what we have to do is test it. So now we are defining as env variables. So the variable should be applied in the pod. So we'll create a pod, we'll go inside a pod, we'll check it whether the env is applied or not. If it is applied, then okay, config map worked. Let's see that. Save it. Sorry. Apply else, deploy, created, kubectl get PO. Oh, that yesterday's affinities and tolerations applied. Let's see. We can remove those things. Test PVC not found, obviously. Oh yeah, but yeah, for now, if you see here, it is trying to fetch from config map. This is okay. That PVC is not found. It seems it's because let's apply. You know why? It's because it's in different namespace. The PVC I created a test namespace, but I removed the namespace here. Let's remove the volumes also. It's not required. Hopefully, you understand the concept. So let's apply it again. Created get po C running. Now let's go inside a pod. Bin message enter. Oh, sorry. My bad. Yes. If you observe test, variable is set. What is the value? Whatever the value for username. That's what we told. For we define a test value env, and we told fetch the value from config map but with this username. Whatever the value this username has, fetch it. Same thing. Whatever the value access level has, fetch it. See, can you see these things? That's how you define or you fetch config map as an env variable. Is it clear? Any doubts so far?
Not now.
All right. Now, this is one approach as I told you. Let's exit from here and delete the pods. What I told you, ENV. So you can use as ENVs. This is okay. Now, how to use as a volumes? Simple. How we used PV and PVC? We defined volume mounts, where to mount it, and we defined volumes, what to mount. I mean, what is the either PV, PVC, which PVC, something like that. Similarly, here also, we define where to mount, and we define config map as what to mount. Of course, we have a config map called nginx conf. It's a file. Of course, the file has to be go in some path, some folder, right? That's why you're mounting it. Simply, let's go here. Yeah, let's define a volume. How to define? First, define the volume. Volume mounts, obviously. What is the name of the volume mounts? CM test something. And where to mount it? We have to give mount path slash etc slash nginx. This is where I want to mount my file. I mean, obviously it will mount there in this path. Next is I have to use volumes, right? One minute. I have to see the syntax correctly. Yeah. So I have to use volumes. So this is the source. Where is the source? Obviously. So CM test. I have to use the same name as I told you. Hope you remember this. You have to use the same name because if you have multiple volumes, the syncing will be happening with the same name. And now where the volumes is config map. We are mounting the config map as a volume. What is the name of the config map? Test-cm. Correct. Now this config map, whatever the content inside it, will be mounted to this path inside a pod. Obviously, we have file, so file can be mounted, not in variables. So let's save it. Hopefully, syntax is correct. Let's say tl apply hyphen f cm. Sorry, not cm. Deploy. Oh yeah, it's created. Git po error. Describe slash y the error. Let's paste it. There is nothing. It means describe. Check the log. We described. We could not found anything. Check the log. Then we'll find it. I believe something from engineering side. Then it's saying no such file or directory. Why we do have anything. Mhm. Deploy. What is the file name that we gave here in the config map? Unix triple one. Okay. This should not have an issue, but it says unix.conf no such file or directory. Oh, you know why? Because we are mounting. You know what I told? We are mounting, right? We are mounting this config map as a volume, correct? And this file, it means the file is mounting in the path. Which path? Nginx or etc slash nginx path. Now, initially, now what happening is if we mount it, whatever the data inside this folder by default, there will be some files. They are being overwritten, and only this file will be present. Due to that, only Nginx is throwing error. So let's mount in a different path. Why to mount in the same path? Maybe etc slash nginx 123. Just as an example, I mean, we can mount in nginx dot etc nginx also, but with correct content. Since we are testing here with some duplicate content, nginx is failing. Let's try it. Deploy, deleted. Now apply it again. Created, get po. See, they are running because we did not touch the nginx.com, which is the default one. Now let's go inside a pod to check our volume. Anything you can check any of the pod, it will work. You are inside it. The volume is mounted. Okay. Go inside this folder, etc. See, our file is mounted here. Okay, here it is in Unix. My bad. Sorry, sorry. But yeah, this is the one of the example. To see here, what is why access level? Sorry, see access level username. These are correct, right? But of course, I mounted the wrong config map. Instead of Nginx conf file, I mean this one. Instead of this name, I had to use this name, right? I use a test here, but still it works because the user this is the direct values, right? So what it did is it created a file with these name keys, and the values are storing in that file in that path, whatever the path we have mounted. See, but of course I have mounted the wrong. But it's correct. I mean, you can use like this also. Even if you have the direct values, you can mount it. So they'll create a file in that path wherever you mounted with the data inside it. You can use like this. You got it what I'm saying? Is it clear or is it confusing? See here. Where is it? Yeah. Sorry, this is ENV. See here. I'm using test to CM, which is wrong. Nginx conf is the configuration, sorry, config map name where we have our file. Let's try now. Apply, yes, get po obviously. Now go inside any pod, df minus h, etc nginx slash etc nginx 123. See our file is there, right? Because, yeah, because we have mounted it. See the content, whatever the content is inside it. We just have mounted it. The file, whatever is there, we have mounted it. Of course, you can mount the values also directly or same. Is it clear? So like this, you can able to use it. Got it? Any out so far? In config maps, what is config map? How to create it? How to use it in our pods configuration? So config maps, we use it to separate our configuration, from the non-sensitive data, of course, from our application, and we create a config maps out of the data. It can be file, it can be direct data, and we use it in our pods either as a env or as a volumes. Got it? Now let's delete it. Okay. Now, of course, if you describe the config map, you can see anything, right? I showed you. What if, let's say, I have a password, DB password, something, and I want to, use it. If I use as a config map, everyone can see the password. What to do? That's where we got secrets. Secrets and config maps both will be used for same purpose. The approach also same. I mean, the way how we created a config map and how we used the config map, right, as in the pod configuration, env value from same thing, same approach we'll use for secrets also. But the only difference is secrets can handle the sensitive data. Config map cannot handle the sensitive data. That's it. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. So it can handle the sensitive data. How it can handle it? So we can encode any data and we can give the encoded content to the secret and it will decode it. How to encode it first? echo there is a command. I mean, in echo f1n, our value is db password. Let's say test that 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. This is the password for a database. I mean, just imagine no one uses this one, but for example, there is 64. See, we are encoding a password with the base 64 algorithm and gave us some value. This value you can use in a secret as a password, and secret can decrypt it, decode this one to this to the original value. Obviously, it has an advantage. If you give an encoded value, it can decode it. That's what the advantage, right? That's how it will handle the sensitive data. If you describe, it will show it, but it will show only the encoded one only, not the original value. So let's see how to use it. How to create a secret? Kind secret, obviously. Metadata, you know this. Test secret, something, whatever the name. Type. So the type will be opaque because we're just creating the values. There will be opaque type. There are multiple types of secrets. We'll see that later. But for now, this is the type, default type. I mean, now kind simple data, just like config map. What let's say db, sorry, db pwd, db password. What is the value it gave us? I think this one. Can't, you know, that's it. For us, one value is fine. You can give multiple values. You know this already. This similar like this. API key something. Now you can encode the value. This is my API key. Something whatever it is. I'll simply copy it, paste it. That's it. This is your secret now. Simply go here, paste it, apply it. Created kubectl get secret. Obviously, describe it. Obviously, can you see the data now? No, right? You can't see the data. Even if you see the data, it's the encrypted one. I mean, encoded one, not encrypted. Sorry, encoded, not the original value. The secret automatically decrypts it, decodes it, and when we are using in the pod, so we don't need to worry about that. Now, how to use this secret? Just similar to ConfigMaps. Let's say same thing. env. Let's say I'll use the password something. Just some meaningful keys password. Value from where? Where to get the value? Secret, right? Not ConfigMap now. So remove this secret. That's it. And of course, what is the secret name? Test secret. Sorry. Yeah, test secret. What is the key inside it? I believe DB password is the key. Sorry, one key. Yeah, DB PWD. Sorry. Let's copy it. Yes. Now we are setting available value getting from secret, test secret, and the key is DB PWD. Same thing, another secret. Maybe API key, something. Not config map key ref. Now secret key ref. And obviously test secret. Sorry. Not access level, I believe API key. Yeah, API underscore key. Any sensitive data we can use it with secrets. Saved it. Let's apply it. kubectl apply deploy created. Go inside any pod. Paste it. Here is a DB password. Sorry, where password. What is it? Yeah, see. In the secret, we gave encoded value, right? Some random things we gave. Correct. That's what we gave here. See, secret automatically decoded it. And see the values. Like that, you can able to use. Same thing. The approach is same. How to use it. Except that it can handle the sensitive data. ConfigMaps cannot handle it. That's it. That's the only difference. Is it clear? Now let's say you may ask, oh, for config map, we have like this. For secret also, you can have the same thing. Same thing. Simply you can create a secret as a file. This time type change the type secret. Let's see. Don't worry. Let's see now. So now what we do? Let's open our blah blah blah. Let's edit here now. Why to bother about it? So now all we have to do is define a secret. So blah 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 blah. Copy this thing. Test secret is already done. Test prod secret maybe something. Now we have the data already. Same thing. Type opaque. What you do? 1 minute. Sorry. Just a minute. Sorry. 1 minute. Just give me a call. Yeah. Sorry. I'm back. Yeah. So what else? Yeah, this one. We want to what is it? Yeah, use the file as secret, right? So simply what you type, okay, simply copy the same thing. Yeah. Below, what is your file name? Maybe test.txt. Maybe some value, whatever the value inside it. You can create like this. So the best approach, what you can do is you can create the same with CLI instead of like this. You can create same thing with like how to create with Kubernetes. Let's say we have the file test.txt. Hi, some values. Forget about what is the value. You want to create a secret out of the file. For config map, we have did it like uh, we find the like this engine is gone. Similar way, we can create a secret also. Just simply just give hash. But instead of giving like that, let's say we have our secrets already in a file. What you do is simply kubectl create secret. Now we have to use the type called generic. This is one of the secret type. Broad secret from file is equal to what is the file test.txt. Sorry. 3x spelling is wrong. From hyphen from. Yeah, it's created. kubectl describe secret slash prod secret. Test. See? Oh,
Yes, bro. Yeah. Yes, bro. Can.
hey, can you hear me now? Oh, they left already. That's okay. We'll finish it. It's already finished. Just I want to show you. That's it. Can you see my screen? Let it load. Let it hide. It will be slow, obviously, because I'm connected to my mobile network. Bear with me. Yeah. So now I created a secret. Obviously, I've shown you, from a file. Simply, what you do now, you have volumes, right? We using the volumes in order to mount it. Same way, we'll be mounting a secret. Except we'll be mounting a secret now instead of the config map, obviously. So how to mount it? So this is fine. Mount path is fine. The only change will be secret here because it's not config map, right? We are mounting a secret. You see, it is secret, obviously. Now below will be secret name, capital N, obviously. Not an, I think prod sec our name is, I believe. That's it. That's it. Simply apply it. Sorry. kubectl apply hyphen yes deploy created getpo kubectl slash go inside a pod. Let's verify. We're inside it. Slash etc nginx. We got the file. Of course, obviously the content inside it. See, it was encrypted. We couldn't able to see it with a secret, but we can able to see it right here. See, that's how usually we do it. How how we do it is, using as a secret for sensitive data, of course. We'll be mounting it as a volume and we'll be mounting
Bro,
it as the
how we
secret
can
name.
decrypt this
Anything.
encrypted value? Like
So
suppose,
what about
example,
config maps and secrets?
I have a backend
How
application,
what is
so
config
where I
maps?
need to
How
make a
to
DB
use it?
connection. So
How
that
to create
time
it?
I
Sorry,
need
and how to use it?
this DB password.
So hope
So,
it's clear.
um, do I need to use any library to decrypt it, this encrypt value?
Hmm. Hmm. Not required. The commands are there. I mean, in Linux there is a command like let me show you. Let's say our we have an encrypted value. Wait. Let me go. Blah blah blah. This one. This is value, correct? You want to decrypt it. There is a command. Echo. Sorry, I'm inside a container. Sorry. Echo. This
So
is the
through the code
value,
also
correct?
I need to execute this Linux command then.
Base 64 -1 decode. So you got the value like this. It's general Linux command. No need to execute. Why to execute? Because you're using a secret, and the secret is decrypting for you, right? So why to use it? Why you need to encode decode it again? As you can see in our example, we have encoded a value, correct? Some DB password something, and we are using it in the
Still
configuration,
not
sorry, in
clear.
the pod
Suppose
configuration
if I
as
want
an env as a volume.
to
And if you
access
observe,
this, uh,
it's
uh,
automatically decoding it for you,
I mean the
and so that application can
environment
use it.
variable through the code,
So why you
then
need to decode manually?
how it will be actually?
Got it? What I'm saying?
Yes, yes, right.
No, no. Come again. Come again. If you want to read the env variable from application, how to do it? That's what.
Correct.
See, same thing. See, we use the secret, correct? Let's create a pod. One minute. Yeah, we are using
Decrypt.
secret. See, if you observe here, we are using secret,
Yeah,
right?
right.
DB password. DB password is the encrypted one, correct? Now go inside a pod. What is the DB password here? Is it encrypted or decrypted? Yeah. So now application can read this, right? That's it. How application reads it is developer's problem. I mean, there are fit particular modules they can use able to import this env. If it is Python, I know Python, but
Okay,
not other languages. I mean, of
got it.
course, if for every language there is few things, few features where we can able to import the env variables into their code. Obviously, that's not our issue. We are giving the encoded value to you. So are you using it or not? So it's a developer problem. Got it?
Yeah,
So we just give the value to you. We have to use it. We can't tell developer, hey, use this, use like this. Uh, they should know it. I mean, we don't tell them. So is it clear now? No, config maps and secrets. Still, I have a doubt now. Let's say you created a config map, obviously. Sorry, secrets with sensitive information, and you thought, okay, my data is encrypted now. No, it's not encrypted. See, I logged into pod, I can see it. See, if I'm a developer, I don't know what is the password and everything. But I have access to cluster, so I logged into pod. I can see the data.
no,
Where is it? See, and I know this command also. I know a little bit of Linux. I know this command. I open the secret configuration file. I mean ML file, manifest file. I I got the encoded value. I can simply decode it. Do you think it is secure? No, right? That's why people don't use secrets. I mean, people use secrets, not really, that much. They'll use some third-party tools called HashiCorp Vault, something like that. That will be more effective than this. That's why people don't use. I mean, we generally use secrets, not really that much. Not for these kind of sensitive information. It's no, since there are some information where it can be seen by everyone sometimes. So at the time we'll use secret. But config maps will be using everywhere. The config maps would, it's a non-sensitive data, right? And we will be using that everywhere. Secrets, no, not really. We have something like HashiCorp Vault. It's a third-party tool. This is the one. So people will be integrating this with the Kubernetes and they'll be using it. We're not discussing this in a class, but it will be good to know this. No one uses the default secrets provided by Kubernetes because it's no use. You can simply decode it. There is
Yeah.
no point of using the secrets. But yeah, it's good to know how these things work. Obviously, as I told you every time, you may not work on it, but good to know. Good to have an idea.
Okay, bro.
So hope it's clear. Um, do practice, and we'll meet tomorrow same time with a different topic.